I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League using my over 20 plus years of coaching experience and being a sports agent and loads of other stuff in the old football-y world. We actually give you real insight and knowledge to make your football knowledge bigger and brighter, hopefully a better player and maybe a better coach, and actually talk sense, like most people. So we're going to look at this breakdown of this first goal here, and there's so much to talk about just on this static formation right here. You can see that gap there, okay? This gap's a problem. This actually ends up being one of the problems why the goal gets scored. So if you're coaching this and you're looking at this, you're going, okay, we've got a huge problem here. Well, that's one, right? We've got another problem here, which is 2, and another problem here that is 3. Let's break down these problems, okay? And it might be the other 1, 2, and 3 in that order, okay? But we'll start here. There's no pressure on the ball. Absolutely none. Okay, but all of his passing options are marked, correct? No, not one of the passing options in whatever. Remember, if you haven't watched some of my breakdowns on formation systems and shapes, you need to understand all of that before you start watching all of this, because people don't understand the difference between a shape, a formation, a system, and roles and responsibilities. They go, it's the system. Well, is it? Because it's the shape. But is it the formation? Well, no, it's the system. So they don't know the differences, and they lump everything in together as one thing, and they just talk, and it doesn't make sense because what they're saying doesn't make sense, right? So when you have a little look, you've got one player there who's kind of marked, and that's it. Completely free, completely free, completely free. Everyone here is free. He's not marked because he's offside. Other than that, there is no pressure on the ball, so none of these players are actually really doing a job. Okay, are they covering all the space? Kind of, but you've got 3 players over here covering a wide area, and that you need to be right there, okay, sniffing that out. Because if you're right there, this is what happens, right? This is why this is the first problem. When this pass comes in, you can step forward and challenge for the pass, and so he cannot turn and run at you. But because there's no player in this space here, absolutely none, no one can step forward. Right, which would normally happen. You'd have a centre back right here who would step forward and try to slow down either the progress, maybe not challenge, all depends on whether or not he tries to turn into you, but you make him stop. You don't let him be able to turn with the ball for free and run straight at you. Number 1, right? But number 2, he's also free. He's also unmarked in that area there, which is amazing. Apparently, that's simple playing against Man United. There's a whole pillar of players sitting inside of a channel. If you do the channel like that, all these players are unmarked. Yeah, we do have one coming in from behind the referee here, but we'll talk about him a little bit more as this sort of move progresses. So when the ball's played into feet, let's have a little look. Bump, ball played into feet, bump, turn. Right, you see, okay, maybe it goes out wide. Maybe the centre back steps forward and goes for it. Clearly, the centre back can't in this scenario because he doesn't turn and start running at it straight away. Now, however, he does start turning and running. Centre back can't step. Centre back is marking here. He doesn't know what to do because he's got a player, and you are not doing anything. Okay? This player here is doing absolutely nothing. Okay, he's not marking the wide run because he can do that, because the ball still has to get played there. As the ball's played, he can track it. Okay, he's facing completely the wrong way. He's facing this way, so that's the area of the field he's marking. Right? What are you doing that for? Don't know. So he's actually doing absolutely nothing. Now I've got 1, 2, 3 midfielders all chasing the ball. Remember that pocket of space there? That's what he's trying to exploit. That's what he's going for there. Not only that, a Man City player bumps past this midfielder here, absolutely bumps, so he knows that he shouldn't be going towards the ball because there's a blind run in behind him. He's aware of it because, look, you can see his arms are up. He's trying to slow himself down from going around him. Like, well, what are you doing? You don't worry about the ball because are you goal side? Here's a Chloe because he doesn't know what goal side means. Here's the ball. Everything in front coming this way is goal side. The goal is behind them and they can go towards the football. You are not goal side. You can't really come and challenge from this angle. Neither can you two. So now what you're doing is you're making recovery runs, trying to fill gaps and cover for anything else that might happen. Because 2 of you don't need to be challenging for this ball. 1 of you does. The other one needs to get away as fast as possible. Boom, in you come. Now when he does step, because he was in 2 minds and he's too slow doing it, and also it probably isn't his job anyway, he just goes past him. Don't worry though. The 1, 2, 3 midfielders, 1, 2, 3 midfielders, they've stopped tracking the ball now and they're stood doing absolutely nothing. There wasn't a player running behind you, was there? Yep, there was, but we don't worry about that because this is Manchester United and we don't really know what we're doing. We don't really know how we're coached and we don't really know what our formation system or shape is. So off he goes, exploiting the space. Gets in behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Man United players, and you've still got 2 Man City players unmarked. Think about that. That's what's just happened, and there's still almost zero pressure on the ball except for the recovery run, which I said you can do anyway. That's fine. You can make the recovery. Poor attempt of a cross. He just sort of smashes it into the player. And because, of course, look, we're stood still again because that's a great thing to do. Screaming for the ball, screaming for the ball. You remember that player that ran past you when you decided to run towards the ball? Yeah, you may want to pay attention to him. Remember when you were marking him a minute ago when I said you were marking him doing a good job? Yeah, you may want to have stayed with your player and not run off into the space. And again, that's the problem with playing this system with 3 centre-backs. Your spacing's always off. And you don't quite know where you are until you've done it for a long time. And now people say, oh, Conte did it with Chelsea. Different level. There was Thiago Silva was in there. And when you've got one level of an experienced player, they are really controlling and dictating the pace of where everyone is and what they're doing. That experience is huge. You can't just get that because you've played 5 games with a back 3. It doesn't work because you've played your whole career as a back 2. And now you're trying to get the spacing and the angles correct. It's difficult. It really is difficult. And this isn't like a difficult, a hard ball. He's just looped this ball up, hoping for the best. Just put it into a danger area. But the 1, 2, 3 midfielders, you remember those that passed through really easy and didn't really, come back. Actually, I don't think this is midfield. I think this is one of the back 4. I think this is Luke Shaw here. Sorry, back 15 or whatever they're playing with. No one is in any sort of position to mark these 2 players that have basically just walked into the box completely unmarked. And now they're looking for a simple free header and they're all shocked. 6 players chasing the ball, holes all over the place, no pressure on the ball, no one marking anybody, no one really understanding where they're supposed to be on the field. And you've gone from a situation where they looked like they had players behind the ball, but they really didn't because of the gaps that they had open. To, having a goal scored against them, it should never have really happened. They've opened this up for themselves. But let's move it on. And you've got another situation happening exactly the same, where you've got Man United players, but they're not doing anything. Right? That's one of the problems with this formation of these 5 at the back when people just don't know what they're doing, is it looks like you've got players to be there and cover, but they're not, because their starting position is key. If their starting position is they're always coming from a point where they're behind, they're always going to lose the ball. And that's what's happening here. Right? First off, you shouldn't really be going in and challenging here, right? Hindsight's great, but this is a situation where you can't really afford to go and challenge because the space is open behind you. And because you've got a back, don't know what that is with that, and you just can't afford to go rushing in here and not win the ball. When you start getting sucked out in this situation, right, so let me back up a bit. While I'm explaining this is because you've got extra players wide, right? Here's the player that needs to be going for it. You don't leave this little area here in the middle, right by the 18-yard box, exposed. That's what he's leaving. Over here, you can have an extra player pushing. That's absolutely fine. But when you're in the middle of the field here, watch how this goal opens up, right? Watch how this goal's scored. It's very, very simple. They've held the ball. That's where the space is now. No player now can cover this gap here. No player can back up the pressure on the ball. Do we see that? He, right now, needs to make his run to there. Doesn't understand it. Starts pressuring the ball as well instead. The problem now is you've got this gap here, right? I mean, this is basic when you do like 4v2 keep away and you move him down the field. It's when you'd have a bunch of zones. You'd have 3 and you'd 2 in the middle. So think of it this way. You have 4 players, right? 2 are always in possession of the ball. So what that means is when they have the ball, these 2 always play and they move through the squares. The other 2 are defensive until they win the ball, then they're attacking. So you'd have like 4 against 2. As soon as these 2 win it, these other 2 become on their team and they start moving the ball down through the grids, so they've got possession. And what you don't ever have is a space like this open up because one player's gone in and pressured and all of a sudden, boom. Now can you see what I mean? This player here, he's just walked down the line. All he's done is go from there down the line to there and hasn't realised that that is the space that needs to be covered. And you can see it's the same space that was there, but now it's just moved down the field because the ball has moved down the field ever so slightly. He is running away from the ball because he sees a player in the middle of the field and he doesn't understand the space is the problem right there. This is the problem. Over pressuring, you're coming in from absolutely the wrong starting position. You're out wide over here, and this is an issue. As the ball goes, can you see? Now he can't get anywhere near this player because it's too late. He's there too late. He's already received the ball. Midfielder hasn't moved because he can't. Do you see how he's caught on his own? Right? He can't go across because he knows if he goes across, the ball goes in the middle of the field there and he's in trouble. So he's doing his job, but it's still destroying, because there's massive gap here. Someone else needs to be in here tucking in with him, dealing with that, so he can go and pressure the ball and make sure this pass doesn't happen. That same space that started here has now moved to here, and now it's still there. So when the through ball comes through, sorry, it's not the through ball, little pass comes through first off, little pass comes through. Now it's just a case of, well, he's in that pocket of space. There's no one to challenge him. These two players have both taken themselves out of the game, where one of them could have just sat in his spot while one of them was pressuring. They didn't understand it at all. All of a sudden, as that's moved in, bump, ball's in behind, now you're off to the races. All because they've just been pulled completely and utterly out of their shape, all over the place, and they don't know how to cover for each other. I mean, I don't know why you've got a player marking no one, walking down the line, instead of tracking back into the middle of the field where your mates just come over to pressure the ball. It's just a mess. I mean, it's a mess. Now, this is a situation where you can blame the keeper, but personally, I wouldn't, right? Now, the only reason you blame the keeper is because the guy scored. Normally, you won't blame the keeper in this situation, because 9 times out of 10, this player is going away from the goal. He's going down here, and you're going to trust the defender is going to do something, and you're just going to stand big and strong and defend the shot. That's what you're going to do, except for the player on the ball is Haaland, so he scores. That's the difference, right? When you're against a world-class player, you're trying to, play that in your mind, right? Do I come out? If he comes out, he probably smothers the ball and gets the ball. But he's probably never really faced situations where he's playing against Erling Haaland and he's got to run out, be quick off his line, understand the danger, and snuff it out straight away. So he's sitting on his line. Look, you can see he starts coming, and he's there, but now it's too late. Because if he was going to come, he should have come immediately. He didn't. It stops. As he stops, the ball's gone in the back of the net box. Off they go. Here's a better view to more understand exactly what I'm talking about. Can you see this space now? Can you see that gap there? That's a huge gap right there. But there's no player except for him that can step into it and cover it. He can't. He's going backwards. He can. He's going that way. If he goes that way, perfect. But he refuses and he goes down the line. And that opens up this massive space here. He can't because he's got a player. Well, actually, he should be up here anyway, keeping this guy true. Look at, oh my God, didn't even notice that. He could have been up here anyway. He could have actually fixed the whole problem by, instead of pushing and tugging with this guy, actually move forward and play a line, get up to where his defenders are, and he would be half there in the first place. Oh, wow. Oh, look, another problem. When you change the angle, you see more. See, now he's in line, but unfortunately it's too late because he's already made his movement. If he's already there, now his movement would be to there and he would be able to sniff out this pass, but he can't. He's on the run now. And look how easy it is. Don't round a corner, off they go. Into that pocket of space, and there's no one there to challenge it. Look, frozen. Yeah, they've got issues. Okay, so this is absolutely awful. The keeper passing out right here. The keeper is completely likely to blame for this. So when you're playing out of the back, one of the main things that you ever taught is called a dynamic pressure pocket. And this is more coaching babble. For what they do is they try to add words and make things sound complicated and do things. So think of a dynamic pressure. First off, like anything's dynamic that's in movement. So when he's making a dynamic run forward, yeah, all runs are dynamic because you're in motion. Yeah, right. So what most teams are trying to do with the other teams playing out the back is set up what's called a dynamic pressure pocket. The pressure is going to come in a little pocket around the player that they're going to pass the ball to. And you're baiting them to pass the ball to that player, so then all of your players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, can squeeze and stop him and steal the ball. Right? This is 101 of passing out of the back. You're looking for where their pressure pocket is, right, and trying not to get caught in the trap that they're setting for you. You beat that pressure pocket and you're out and you're down the other side. That's it. That's what you're trying to do. The fact that he's isolated on his own right there and the keeper's knocking the ball to him, and the keeper can see there's 2, not 1, but 2 people, normally there's 1 by the way, sprinting towards him, putting him in under all sorts of pressure. Yeah, you just don't make these mistakes if you want to play football at a high level. But apparently nowadays, no one knows what they're doing, so we just let them do anything. Yeah, don't make any difference. Now, the next point of the pressure pocket is there's a couple of things that you're looking to do. Win the ball, obviously. Can you win the ball? Can you win the ball? It's always the first thing you're saying. As soon as he starts passing the ball backwards, this is your next point of it here. You're trying to look for either one of these 2 points here, and it's one of these 2 guys' job to keep the next level of pressure going, and then these 2 will reset and try to join again. Okay, so if it was on this side, he'd be pressuring, but it's not. It's down here as it goes in. Boom. Do you see? Also, that pass is awful. Oh my God. Do you see how far this guy's got to run now to try to receive this pass? He's got no hope. So if you're watching like one of those TV channels that know nothing about football, like, oh, his pass out of the back, he can just smash it down the field and dribble. No, he can't, because that's not how he's been trained to play football. You can't just change it. So all of a sudden now he's put in a situation from a terrible pass as well, but it's not his fault. It's the keeper's fault putting him under that pressure in the first place. So he's put him in a situation where he thinks, okay, he can clear it, we can be safe, but of course he doesn't. He's just smacks it down the middle of the field and it's intercepted, and now they're off. I mean, you can see this happening a mile off. Before the keepers even kick the ball, you can see that they were going to lose that possession, and they have. Straight in, off they go. Don't score, but yeah. Okay, City are decent for setting up pressure pockets up front, but so are lots of other teams nowadays. If United keep playing like this, they're going to struggle. It's interesting, actually. If you know what you're talking about with football when you're watching this, you're going, okay, wow, this is bad. Here's the ball. Where's his options? You can't knock it into there. There's 1, 2, chances are it gets cut out, 3 opportunities to lose the ball. Can't play it into here because unless he's Harry Potter and he can manage to put the ball over the top of him, straight into there, use his magic spell to get it there without a challenge from 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's too hard. He's got no forward options from any of these players, so he has to go wide. Now, starting position, where's his shoulders facing? This is why being in your starting position before the ball's passed is so important. You can see he's looking in field there, right? He should have his shoulders flat and he's looking down the field that way. That's how he should be positioned. Or 3 yards further out over here, and that's perfectly acceptable. He's too close into the infield. I think this is Luke Shaw. And by the way, that would explain it, because if he's a left back, right, he's playing exactly how a left back should be, but he's 10 yards too inside. So if he was in this position here, I say 3, but it's more like 10. And if he's there instead, this is perfect, right? His starting, and this is where body shape and all these things about changing your formation and playing players in different roles matters, because his body shape is perfect if he's further back here. So when this pass is played, let's have a little roll. Oh, wrong button. I'm really good at this. Boom, there's the pass played. Look at where he's gone. He's cut off his options. The only way he can go, the only pass he's got is to the outside. That's it. This needs to be first time to the outside. That's all he can do. He knows that there's no play forward because he's been watching the game. He's sit there and he knows he can't fire that into his feet. He knows that there's pressure coming. He knows that as soon as he receives this ball, well, he shouldn't be even thinking about receiving the ball. He just needs to play it first time round the corner. But watch his touch. Bump. Where's it gone? Into the middle. Lost it. Gone. Down the other end, it's a goal instantly. This is the difference with playing in the centre of the midfield and playing out wide. Out wide, you can get away with that all day long. All day long. You do that in centre midfield, they've scored a goal on you. There's a difference why centre midfielders are really quick with the ball and why wide players aren't necessarily quick with the ball, especially left backs. And you've put him in a situation where he is right in the centre of midfield, receiving a ball. His body shape is wrong. He's not wide enough. There's no options for him to pass to. So he's panicked. His touch isn't clean. And all of a sudden, ball's lost and they're down the other end and gone. It's not over yet, though, because here's the old warhorse, Harry Maguire. He's understood exactly what I'm talking about. That's the only pass that he can really play out wide. That's where he can go. Unfortunately, he's old and he can't kick the ball hard enough, and he doesn't get it with any weight or power on the ball to get it out there quick enough, and it gets intercepted. But he's got the right vision. He's got the right, pass. He's doing the right thing. His execution is just god awful. So if that's better, bump, because look, it's just too weak. It's too weak. Easily intercepted, and they're off. Yeah, so exposed. Absolutely exposed. And it's because of the way they're set up. They're not giving themselves proper options. So you've always got to think the players on the ball could make a mistake. Who's recovering for him? How do we deal with that? What's his second option? None of that is even taken into account in any of that shape. That's why when I was talking about it, and you look at that line of 4 there and those 4 people in front of there's no option. There's nothing. Like, what? We just pass along our little 4 here in a line. It's set up so poorly. And I do go on about this because people think like, oh, he's Ruben Amorim, he did really well at Sporting. Yeah, great. That doesn't mean anything. Because You've got to think about the best coaches in the world, and bearing in mind, most of them are absolutely, completely, and utterly rubbish. I've worked with these people. I know them. They're rubbish. They get by because they have better players than the other team, and then they ended up slowly trying to build a sort of a thing over a couple of years. Why do you think the turnover rate is so high if all these coaches were at a really good level? It wouldn't happen because they'd all be doing the right things and the teams wouldn't be making basic, silly mistakes anybody can call out and go, look, this is just awful. But yeah, Ruben Amorim also let it slip, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to find the clip. He said in a press conference he only plays this system because it's the only one he knows. We know. It's Haaland one-on-one with the keeper, and if you're a betting man, you're going 9 times out of 10 Haaland scoring that goal. There's not many goalkeepers in the world that's going to stop him breathing down at full pace, and this is one of them that's not stopping him. I think he could have got out a little bit quicker, but again, I don't think he's played enough games at this level to understand how far he must come out to shut that angle down, because how good the other team, world class the other players are. Because I doubt he's ever faced anyone as quality as Erling Haaland in his life. Many people haven't. Not quite good enough. Down, almost there, but it's in the back of the net. You can't blame the keeper on that because it's all down the other end. Most of it's the strikers, the forwards, the wide players not moving. There's no run. Everything is. There's so many problems going on. Other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.